Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Crypto News. And today is a pretty big day for crypto. I mean, if we take a look at the top 100 of cryptos, right now it doesn't look too beautiful, but if we give it a little bit of a refresh, you can see, oh wow, things are looking beautiful with Ethereum plus 4%, Bitcoin at plus 1.3%, and it's generally a very positive day at plus 2%. We've also I wanted to say uncovered, but I guess we've gotten over the $800 billion hurdle. And over the last 24 hours, a couple of coins have been doing extremely well. One of those is apparently YOLO Cash, which is up like 4 million% or something like that. I don't know what this is. Looks to be just some pump and dump with a very slight volume. Interesting. But no, a couple of coins like Solana were doing extremely well, up like 20% or something like that throughout the day. Right now, though, it seems that's not the case anymore, as indeed it is starting to fall back down piece by piece. But a couple of other coins like Near are also still up roughly 20% throughout the day, which is pretty insane. Now, if we have to come to terms, I'd say one of the most important things that happened throughout the last 24 hours is by far that Mr. Sam Bankman-Fried pled non-guilty. FTX co-founder Sam Bankman-Fried pleads not guilty to criminal charges. The Bahamian authorities arrested Bankman-Fried in mid-December, and he was subsequently extradited to the US. And now before we move on, guys, if you're enjoying these daily crypto videos or you're learning something new, make sure you press that like button, as it is greatly appreciated. I digress. Bankman-Fried entered his plea deal in Manhattan federal court, his plea in the court, where he faces 8 criminal counts, including wire fraud, money laundering conspiracy, and a 30-year-old ex-mogul is accused of looting FTX customers' deposits to support his Alameda research hedge fund, buy real estate, and donate millions of dollars to political causes. Apparently, Danielle Sassoon, a federal prosecutor, said at Tuesday's hearing that the government has a deep well of evidence against Mr. Bankman-Fried, saying prosecutors will turn over hundreds of thousands of documents in the coming weeks to the defense. I'm not too sure how certain this part is. It says right here the U.S. District Judge Louis Kaplan on Tuesday set an October 2nd date for trial, which is 10 months in the future, which Sassoon said could last 4 weeks. And the government has already secured guilty pleas from 2 former top associates of Bankman-Fried's Alameda. We all knew about this, Gary Wang and Caroline Ellison. Both of those already pled guilty, and I kind of wonder exactly what's going to happen to them. Apparently, 5 of the 8 counts against Mr. Bankman-Fried carry a maximum sentence of 20 years, and the problem with that is it's each. So the guy faces up to 100 and let's say 50 years worth of prison time. For that reason alone, it is not strange that he went for the not guilty approach to this, because otherwise, well, he could spend the rest of his life in prison, and he doesn't want that, logically. If you start thinking about it, it is pretty crazy. It is pretty crazy if you start thinking about it, really pretty crazy, that Sam Bankman-Fried's scam might have literally gone uninterrupted had the crypto market not crashed. If it didn't crash, this guy might have literally gotten away with the multi-billion-dollar scam because, well, all of his investments would have paid off, and so he would have been $15 billion richer, even though in the back end, he was kind of screwing us over. But nobody would have known because we wouldn't feel screwed over because we didn't lose out. Well, at the end of the day, he was using our money for the misappropriated ways, basically. But yeah. Now, in the wake of that, there's an article which just came out, which says, "Be wary of Bitcoin. Federal agencies warn U.S. banking sector." It is always interesting to read about the crypto regulations, and there's a lot of crypto announcements coming out every single day. Like, for example, the FOMC minutes, which is coming out in a couple of hours from now, I think 2 hours from, or 2.5 hours from the time that I'm recording this video. And I just want to quickly tell you, if you're looking for a platform to trade this on, make sure you check out the description below. I always put links down below, but that's usually for exchanges that are giving you crazy bonuses, the hardware wallet that I personally use to keep your coins safe, and always a VPN, because you never know what you need a VPN for. I usually use a VPN when I'm putting my coins into a ledger. I usually use a VPN when I'm using exchanges. I just use a VPN all the time. You guys might not know, but even if you look at the top right there, you can see that my VPN is on right now. But yeah, right now, Bybit has over $30,000 worth of bonuses. I just recommend you guys to check it out. I will leave a link for these exchanges down below. In my opinion, is the best place to trade crypto. But again, my opinion. As we said, and I'm going to state this again, crypto regulations are coming in hot soon. Like a suit and tie version of the Avengers, 3 major US regulators have issued a joint statement warning of the risks posed by cryptocurrencies to traditional financial institutions, their customers, and the broader US financial system. Published by the Federal Reserve, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, which is the FDIC, and the Office of the Control of the Currency, OCC, much of the statement's contents should come as little surprise to stakeholders. Cited risks include fraud and scams, legal uncertainties, misleading representations made by crypto companies, volatility, and market contagion. Quote, "It is important that risks related to the crypto asset sector that cannot be mitigated or controlled do not migrate to the banking system," read the statement. And now, despite the warnings, the statement conceded that banking organizations are neither prohibited nor discouraged from providing banking services to customers of any specific class or type, as permitted by law or regulation. The trio warned that holding crypto assets is highly likely to be inconsistent with safe and sound banking practices. And I guess to a certain degree, I can agree with this. It's not as traditional, so it's a little bit riskier, but there's also more profit if it does end up working out. And that's the caveat that they're not putting in. They're only putting in all the negatives, but very often these negatives have a very additional positive to it. And also, just because you have to be warned, because the banking sector is warned or anything like that, well, what's it really going to change? They're just putting up a general warning saying, hey, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on, be wary of that. And especially with the whole FTX situation, they have a little bit more ground to stand on. But at the end of the day, all the billionaires know, and we all know, it doesn't really matter. We've already covered that the US, for example, with all their debt is not really looking so good. The entire world with all its inflation is not really looking so good. The billionaires know it, the big guys know it. Things are going to be worse for the economy. And so people are buying Bitcoin, people are getting into cryptocurrencies, people are looking for ways to control their own finances, control their own money. If you really start thinking about it, there isn't that much in this world that they cannot take away from you if they really want to. Your home? They can take that away for sure. If you have debt somewhere else, they'll come take your home away from you. If you have gold, well, it'd rather be physical, hidden in a good place, because otherwise they're coming to take that from you. A car, a watch, they're going to take everything from you if they can. With cryptocurrencies, though, it's different than a bank, which they have control over. You can literally have the password stuck in your head, and nobody in the world is able to touch your money. That is so powerful. Plus the idea that the major governments can't play around with the supply of it so much, as fiat currency is literally infinite. It's such a good value proposition, and people sometimes question exactly why we get into cryptocurrencies. Again, there's a full array of different cryptocurrencies with different purposes. I personally think Bitcoin solves mostly the inflation problem, or at least people are interested in it for that. Ethereum is mostly a platformer where, well, people just would like to do things in a decentralized manner, of having apps basically and websites, and well, that's basically what the platform is built for. A lot of people might point towards XRP for these cross-border payments and just literally the payment realm. You can kind of go on and further with all these different things like Uniswap, again, some sort of platformer for swapping, and potentially things like Shiba Inu in the future for getting that little funny edge, but most importantly, potentially the game and the metaverse. Chainlink for being the Oracle, Cosmos or maybe Quant for being the bottom layer of things, Filecoin, well, the name says it already, VeChain for supply chain, and we can kind of go on like that for a little while. But the premise is quite clear. Cryptocurrencies are here to stay. The small guys like you and I know it. The big guys, the multi-billionaires know it. And again, just for fun, realize for yourself that right now, not even Apple is fully into crypto yet, but it will happen. At least I'm personally quite convinced it will. Then again, I'm not your financial advisor. Don't take this as financial advice. Take it as a friend telling you something. But then on the opposite side, take it from a venture capitalist as well. I personally think the risk to reward with this whole crypto space is very much worth it. The value proposition is just so good. And I personally think if we have a bankroll of $10,000 and we invested in multiple different sectors, multiple different ideas, as long as these are all relatively risky with a relatively high profit potential as well, with the certainty that I feel for the crypto space, for example, I think the investment is worth it because of the risk to reward. I think basically if we had this same offer time and time again and we kept taking it, then eventually we'd have a extremely positive return. And yeah, some guys are a little bit earlier with Tim Draper being in it for about 9 years right now. He made some very, very profitable decisions all the way back then. I still personally think it's not too late to make the decision right now. And again, to end it off, I'd say again, if you're looking for a platform to trade, for example, this FOMC minutes meeting that's coming out at 7 p.m. UTC later tonight, make sure you check out these links down below because, well, trading on those is very profitable. Could be very profitable. Make it that. See you guys again in another crypto video later today though, guys.